Sup. So, just gonna try to do this one real quick just to get more stuff out into the ether. The Ethernet. I only call the internet the Ethernet, but whatever. The third seal of the book of Revelation is about inflation. It's not about famine. Famine is not mentioned until the fourth seal. The fourth seal is conquest, it's war, it's conquest. The second seal is bloodshed, which we commonly call war, but based on the wording of it, it seems to me more to be of people just being more violent, especially against their fellow countrymen, their fellow citizens, their local communities. It seems to be an increase in lawlessness. Third seal is inflation. I am on the political right. I am a Christian, and because of that, many of my views are on the political right. And there's a problem on the political right of teaching that the reason no one can afford anything is because it's the government's fault, or it's the individual's fault for not working hard enough, or mocking them for how they spend their money. So you're either mocked for how you spend your money, it's the government's fault because of inflation, or it's Anyway, it's one of those reasons, right? There is a right-leaning commentator about 3 years ago I saw who said he does not care about the greed of business owners and investors so long as everyone else benefits, and that we shouldn't care about their greed. Let's take advantage of it because they flood the economy with their money. This man claims to be a man of God. It's one of two people I'm thinking of, and I don't want to say their names, one of which is a Christian or says he's a Christian. No, you're literally saying rely on people to sin. How evil is that to claim to be a Christian and to say, let's rely on people's sin so that I can get the scraps? While that same individual will say, you're not working hard enough, or you're not budgeting enough, or you're not saving enough, or you're over-reliant on others, or something nonsensical. We are commanded in the Bible to help one another. And you may be wondering what this has to do with the third seal and me starting with that. There is a point in time, and people on the political right, predominantly on the political right, say they're Christian and espouse views that contradict the future that will objectively happen, which is there's a point in time where enough will not be enough. And those same people are going to be saying, yeah, it's because you're not working hard enough. That's why you can't afford to eat. I'm obese, by the way. I eat junk food. That's what I can afford to eat. The nutritious stuff, whatever. But I am cutting back. I've lost like 5 pounds so far this month. Yay. Because I had to be honest with myself, I'm fairly sedentary. You got to be honest with yourself and just, I'm sedentary. There you go. I've had like, so this is a tangent. Let's just, I'm still on data and not on Wi-Fi. PSA, if you're at your place and you have Wi-Fi on, have data off, and then turn on data and turn off Wi-Fi when you leave. I've had 124 calories so far today. I've had a banana and an energy drink. Whatever. And that's not normal. Oh, no, wait, no. I didn't put in my lunch. That was the problem. I've had like 700 calories. Whatever. Tangents. My point is, the cost of bread in the book of Revelation, the third seal says, bread will be a day's wages. It says a penny in the King James Version. The translation was a denarii. It was a day's wages for a base laborer's work, like a farmer. Like during the Great Depression, there were people who would go to wharfs and beg for the opportunity to work. And how wrong is that you have to go beg? And yet there were people financially benefiting, and their profits were going up during the Great Depression. There were people who benefited financially from that. Merchants are lauded as a moral good by the political right. Yet the book of Revelation says the merchants will look on at the destruction of the great whore Babylon and bewail the loss of her because they were made rich by her, because people partook of their wares through her. In the Bible, it says the righteous is not an investor. I believe that's in the book of Ezekiel. God told the Israelites, don't lend money with the intent of getting usury, which is the old word we used for interest. Now we just call it interest. It's the same thing, which is money on top of the money you lent. I highly encourage you to go read the book of Nehemiah if you are on the political right. Everyone should read it. Everyone should read the Bible, but go read the book of Nehemiah and go read the book of Revelation and pay attention to what it says about debt and to what it says about merchants. The third seal is inflation. The cost of everything will cost so much. It will be so high. The people who actually go do the work that you need for society to function, because if everything went to crap, if this was fallout, you being an investor in a bank is not going to help you. But being the guy who works on the assembly line, yeah. Being a farmer, yeah. Politician, everyone's going to blame you for all the problems. Like the actual people who go do stuff to make society function, who you need, will not be able to afford the most basic staple foods. Here in the US, we tend to gauge things off of milk and eggs, even more so than bread. It's like milk and eggs here in the US. I remember years ago when the cost of, it was either milk reached the cost of a gallon of gas, or a gallon of gas reached the cost of milk, and the whole nation was kind of like, what does that mean? Oh no. There's also the matter of the law of supply and demand, which briefly want to touch on this. I think it's in Exodus. It's in one of the last 4 books of the law. God tells the Israelites, if times get difficult, I am paraphrasing here, when times of hardship come, and it's difficult for your brother to have bread, and he's talking about your fellow countrymen. When it is difficult for them to have the most basic staple things, not only will you not increase your prices, you are, this is by God's decree, to lower the prices so that their suffering is lessened, trusting that God himself will help you get through the time of hardship. Hey, needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, basically. Cool, the business owners take the hit. Society as a whole is maintained. It'll blow over. And then God's going to reward the ever-loving daylights out of the business owners. There are safeguards against inflation. in the Bible. Go read it. I have attempted to read the Bible from the perspective of an economist before, and I think that most economists nowadays, especially the ones who say that they're Christians, would look at this and say God is stupid and doesn't know how economies work. And that's a sign of the wickedness of their heart. People, especially on the political right, and especially Christians, need to acknowledge that there's going to be a point where you cannot work enough. You cannot save enough. It is written. It was written nearly 2,000 years ago. Actually, the book of Revelation was written in the 90 ADs, around 90, the 90s in AD, at the latter end of the first century. So it's closer to, 900, about 1970 years ago, around there. There's going to come a time where it's unaffordable. And the people who are going to be saying, work, 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 just go work more, are the ones who sit on their butts and invest money and yell at people to give them their money. And with usury. Henry Ford warned against it when he took on investors. He wanted to give more money to his employees, hire on more people, and expand his assembly line. The investors came knocking on the door saying, give us our money and give us the interest on top of it and give it to us now. And he went to court trying to fight for his employees and lost because the court said the investors have the right to their money now. And he cautioned people against taking on investors because once you do, they own you. And you don't get to run your business how you want to anymore. Good intentions destroyed by people who sit on their butt and just tell everyone what to do. Give me my money back and then some. But people on the right will say, make your money work for you. But don't you dare do that until you can afford to. No one can afford anything. It's going to get worse. Also, I'll make a separate thing about inflation and how to deal with it. But inflation can easily be stopped by saying, no more increasing your prices. No more law of supply and demand. No more increasing your prices just to do it. Just no more. If you just capped prices at whatever they're at. Eventually, people's wages would catch up. You could do that. You, at the very least, pay your workers what they need in order to afford things, but then the price would constantly just go up. But then everyone's wages would keep up. Prophecy wouldn't be fulfilled, and prophecy will be fulfilled. So I'm speaking about problems that will not be fixed. Or even if they were, it would not last. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good day.